Dear students, so today we are going to continue with the chemical digestion of the food. So in last lesson we talked about the ingestion to the mouth, where the chemical and physical digestion starts. So after chewing food and mixing it with saliva, it goes down by the gullet called esophagus, or the process called swallowing. By swallowing, you send the bowls of the food down by the tube called esophagus. It's a special tube that connects mouth and the stomach. So it has to pass over the windpipe to ensure that food does not enter the windpipe and cause choking during the swallowing. The epiglottis is kind of like door which separates those two windpipes, which goes to the lungs, and the second one goes to the stomach. The epiglottis, a kind of flap of cartilage, guides the food into the gullet or to the esophagus, as I said before. The beginning of the swallowing action is voluntary, as we talked about before, peristaltic movement. But once the food reaches the back of the mouth, swallowing becomes the automatic or reflex action. By that reflex action, food is forced down uh, down the gullet by the peristaltic movement. This takes about 6 seconds with relatively solid food. The food is then admitted to the stomach, and the liquid travels more rapidly down the gullet. The bowls of food, as it taken to the mouth after some time chewing, by the meaning of the tongue, you make a swallowing action, and you can see the epiglottis now it's up. But once the food is coming, epiglottis close the windpipe to the lungs, so the bolus of food goes down by the esophagus to the stomach. You can see now here in next picture, epiglottis down closes the windpipe of the trachea, preventing the bolus of food reaching the lung side. And after passing, epiglottis opens again, and the food automatically moves down by the peristaltic movement till the stomach. And you can see by this picture. So the balls of food which reach the stomach, and in the stomach it has elastic walls which thread the food collects in it. And you can see the pyloric sphincter, that like opening to the stomach. It has double sphincter. Stomach have two of them, the lower and the upper sphincters. And also you can see the main function of the stomach is to store the food. You can here we have some kind of liquid particle of the stomach juice, and the food particles reach that place, and after staying here for some kind of time, it becomes more liquid, and it can easily pass to the small intestine in small quantities, and it will travel through your alimentary canal. So there are some glands in the lining of your stomach walls, epithelial walls made of epithelium cells. In the lower side of that epithelium layers, we have glands which have gastric juices, which produce gastric juices. Gastric juices, guys, we need to make the digestion in our stomach. So by that gastric juices, the breaking happens process of breaking down large protein molecules into small soluble amino acids, as you remember from the beginning of the year, biological molecules. The stomach lining also produces hydrochloric acid, which makes a weak solution in the gastric juice. This acid, guys, provides the best degree of acidity for stomach protease. Protease is a kind of enzyme to digest the proteins and also kill the bacteria taken within the food. The next particle after the small intestine, after the stomach, is the small intestine. You can see by the picture there is a pyloric sphincter, and that pyloric sphincter lets the liquid products of digestion pass a little at time into the first part of the small intestine called duodenum. In the duodenum, the final particles of the digestive system, the digestion takes place. It means digestion is close to be completed. And here, a digestive juices from another like assistant organs like pancreas and the liver, they will add some kind of their like glands, digestive glands. So pancreas, they will add pancreatic juice. The liver will add bile, the bile which is stored in gallbladder and helps in the digestion of fat particles. So you can see here also by the text, the bold ones, protease, as the enzyme of made up comes from the pancreas. They break down the proteins into the small amino acids, and the pancreatic amylase also, they attack starch and converts it into the maltose. Starch, if you remember, that's a polysaccharide, and it will make that starch, pancreatic amylase will digest it, that starch, into the maltose, into the disaccharide. So also there is a lipid which is digested by the help of bile. So lipase, that enzyme of the which digests the lipids, break down the lipid molecules into fatty acids and the glycerol. You can see here that pancreatic juice contains sodium hydrogen carbonate. That ones neutralize the acidic liquid from the stomach that were given by the digestive glands of the stomach. This is necessary because the enzymes of pancreas do not work well in acid conditions. So that one will just neutralize the acid, so the pancreatic juices can work in well conditions. All the digestible materials thus change to soluble compounds, which can pass through the lining of the intestine, the small intestine, into the bloodstream. The final products of digestion are, as you can see by the diagram, food final products gonna be starch, which is glucose, also gonna be digested into simple sugars or broken down into simple sugars. Proteins gonna be broken down into the amino acids, and the fats or lipids, they're gonna be divided into fatty acids and the glycerol. For today we have finished, guys. Thank you very much.